Apple. Apples originated in the mountains of Central Asia, especially around modern Kazakhstan, where wild Malus sieversii trees still grow. Traders carried them along Silk Road routes, and by Roman times, grafting techniques allowed farmers to preserve sweeter varieties. Today, more than 7,500 apple cultivars exist, though supermarkets usually sell only a few dozen. Apples are produced by grafting a desired variety onto a rootstock, because seeds do not grow true to type. Their crisp texture comes from air-filled cells that break when bitten. Depending on sugar, acidity, and tannins, apples can taste honeyed, floral, sharp, or dry, making them useful for fresh eating, cider, vinegar, and baking. Banana. Bananas were first domesticated in Southeast Asia and New Guinea thousands of years ago, long before written agriculture records. Most modern dessert bananas come from hybrids of Musa acuminata and Musa balbisiana, with the Cavendish becoming dominant after Panama disease destroyed the earlier Gros Michel trade in the mid-20th century. Commercial bananas are usually seedless triploids, meaning they have 3 sets of chromosomes and are propagated by cuttings rather than seeds. They are harvested green, shipped under controlled temperatures, then ripened with ethylene gas. Their soft texture comes from starch converting into sugar, creating a creamy, sweet fruit with notes of vanilla, grass, and mild acidity. Orange. Oranges likely originated in southern China or Southeast Asia as hybrids between mandarins and pomelos. They reached the Mediterranean through trade, and by the 15th and 16th centuries, Portuguese sailors helped spread sweet oranges globally. Orange trees are often grafted onto disease-resistant rootstocks, and many popular types, such as navel oranges, reproduce through cuttings because their seeds are absent or unreliable. The fruit's segments are juice-filled vesicles protected by a fragrant peel rich in essential oils. Oranges are valued for vitamin C, which helps sailors prevent scurvy on long voyages. Their flavor balances sweetness, citric acidity, floral aroma, and slight bitterness from the white pith. Mango. Mangoes were domesticated in South Asia more than 4,000 years ago and became deeply linked to Indian, Persian, and Southeast Asian food cultures. The Mughal Empire helped develop prized varieties, and Portuguese traders later carried mangoes to Africa, Brazil, and the Caribbean. Mango trees can live for more than 100 years and produce fruit that ranges from green and fibrous to golden and custard soft. The fruit contains a single flat seed and ripens as starch converts into sugars and aromatic compounds. Some varieties taste resinous and pine-like, while others resemble peach, coconut, or honey. In many countries, mangoes are eaten fresh, pickled, dried, or blended into drinks. Grape. Grapes are among the oldest cultivated fruits, with winemaking evidence dating back more than 8,000 years in the Caucasus region. The main wine grape, Vitis vinifera, spread through ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome before becoming one of the world's most economically important fruit crops. Grapes grow in clusters and can be used fresh, dried into raisins, pressed into juice, or fermented into wine. Their skins contain pigments, tannins, and aroma compounds, while the flesh stores sugar and acidity. Table grapes are often bred to be seedless, crisp, and thin-skinned. Wine grapes are smaller, sweeter, and more concentrated, producing flavors that can suggest berries, flowers, herbs, or minerals. Strawberry. Strawberries are not true berries in botanical terms. They are aggregate accessory fruits, meaning the red flesh comes from the flower's receptacle, while the tiny seeds on the outside are individual fruits called achenes. The modern garden strawberry was developed in 18th century France by crossing a North American species with a Chilean species. This hybrid produced larger, juicier fruit than earlier woodland strawberries. Commercial strawberries are picked close to ripeness because they do not continue to sweeten much after harvest. Their aroma comes from hundreds of volatile compounds, including fruity esters and caramel-like notes. A ripe strawberry is soft, fragrant, sweet, slightly tart, and unusually delicate. Pineapple. Pineapples originated in South America, especially around present-day Brazil and Paraguay, before indigenous peoples spread them through the Caribbean. Christopher Columbus encountered the fruit in 1493, and Europeans later grew it as a luxury symbol in heated glass houses. Botanically, a pineapple is a multiple fruit made from many fused flowers, each forming one small unit on the outer surface. It grows from a low tropical plant rather than a tree, and can be propagated from its leafy crown, slips, or suckers. Pineapple contains bromelain, an enzyme that can tenderize meat and irritate the mouth slightly. Its flavor combines sharp acidity, high sugar, tropical aroma, and a fibrous, juicy texture. Watermelon. Watermelon has roots in Africa, with evidence of cultivation in ancient Egypt more than 4,000 years ago. Early watermelons were likely smaller, harder, and less sweet. valued partly as portable water sources in dry climates. Modern watermelons were selectively bred for red flesh, high sugar, thin rinds, and fewer seeds. Seedless watermelons were developed in the 20th century by crossing plants with different chromosome counts, producing sterile fruit with small undeveloped seeds. The red color comes from lycopene, the same pigment found in tomatoes. A ripe watermelon is crisp, watery, and cooling, with sweetness concentrated around the center and a mild cucumber-like freshness near the rind. Peach. Peaches originated in China, where archaeological evidence suggests cultivation as early as 6000 BCE. They traveled west through Persia, which is why the scientific name Prunus persica refers to Persia rather than China. Peaches are stone fruits, meaning their soft flesh surrounds a hard pit that protects the seed. They belong to the rose family, along with cherries, almonds, and plums. Commercial peaches are divided into clingstone and freestone types, depending on whether the flesh attaches to the pit. Their fuzzy skin helps protect the fruit, while ripening creates floral lactones that give peaches their perfume-like aroma. The texture can be melting, juicy, and soft, with honeyed sweetness and gentle acidity. Cherry. Cherries were cultivated around the Black Sea and Caspian Sea regions before spreading into Europe through Greek and Roman agriculture. Sweet cherries, Prunus avium, and sour cherries, Prunus cerasus, became separate culinary traditions. Sweet cherries for fresh eating, sour cherries for pies, preserves, and liqueurs. The fruit is small, thin-skinned, and highly perishable, which makes harvest timing important. Cherries are usually hand-picked because bruising can quickly reduce quality. Their deep red color comes from anthocyanins, pigments also associated with berries and red grapes. Sweet cherries taste rich and wine-like, while sour cherries carry sharper acidity, making them especially useful when cooked with sugar. Pear. Pears have been cultivated for at least 3,000 years across Europe and Asia. Ancient Greek and Roman writers described different pear varieties, and grafting helped preserve favored types. European pears, such as Bartlett and Comus, usually ripen best off the tree because they can become gritty or overripe from the inside if left too long. Asian pears, by contrast, are often crisp and eaten directly after harvest. Pear flesh contains stone cells, tiny hardened structures that create a faint, grainy texture. As pears ripen, starches turn to sugar and aromas become floral, buttery, and sometimes musky. Their mild acidity and soft texture make them common in desserts, poaching, preserves, and fresh salads. Pomegranate. Pomegranates are native to regions from Iran to northern India and have been cultivated for more than 5,000 years. They appear in ancient Egyptian, Greek, Persian, and Jewish symbolism, often linked to fertility because each fruit contains hundreds of ruby-colored arils. The edible part is not the peel or white membrane, but the juicy sac surrounding the seeds. Pomegranates grow well in dry, warm climates, and have a tough rind that helps protect the interior during storage. Their red color comes from anthocyanins, while their sharp flavor comes from organic acids and tannins. The taste is sweet, tart, slightly astringent, and refreshing, with a crisp, popping texture. Fig. Figs are one of humanity's earliest domesticated fruits, with evidence of cultivation in the Near East, possibly dating back more than 10,000 years. Botanically, a fig is not a single fruit, but an enclosed flower structure called a syconium. Many wild figs depend on tiny fig wasps for pollination, creating one of the most specialized plant-insect relationships in agriculture. Some commercial figs, however, can develop without pollination. Fresh figs have thin skins, soft interiors, and many tiny seeds that create a gentle crunch. Their flavor is honeyed, jammy, and earthy, with less acidity than many fruits. Dried figs concentrate sugar and became important as durable food in ancient Mediterranean diets. Coconut. Coconuts grow on palms across tropical coastlines and likely spread naturally by floating across oceans, as well as through human migration and trade. Despite the name, the coconut is botanically a fibrous drupe rather than a true nut. It has several useful layers: a tough husk, a hard shell, white kernel, and coconut water inside young fruits. Coconut water is the liquid endosperm, while the white flesh becomes thicker and richer as the fruit matures. People press the flesh for coconut milk and oil, ferment sap into vinegar or alcohol, and use the husk fiber as coir. Its flavor is creamy, nutty, mildly sweet, and strongly associated with tropical cuisines. Avocado. Avocados originated in Mesoamerica, where they were cultivated by indigenous peoples thousands of years before Spanish colonization. Unlike most fruits, avocados are rich in fat rather than sugar, with monounsaturated oil giving them a smooth, buttery texture. The modern Hass avocado began from a seedling grown by Rudolf Hass in California in the 1920s and became dominant because of its thick skin, rich flavor, and good shipping quality. Avocados ripen after harvest, softening as cell walls break down and oils become more noticeable. Botanically, they are large berries with a single seed. Their taste is mild, grassy, nutty, and creamy, making them useful in savory dishes, sauces, salads, and desserts.